Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're tackling something pretty essential, I think, for anyone in purchasing or logistics,
Yeah. What's on the agenda?
managing supplier returns, specifically within SAP.
Mm.
When you get goods delivered and, well, they're just not right.
Ah, yes. Non-conforming goods. Happens
Uh,
all the time, unfortunately.
exactly. And dealing with it efficiently in the system, that's key. So our mission today is to really break down the steps for handling supplier returns in SAP based on the materials you shared with us.
Sounds good. It's maybe not the most glamorous topic, but getting it right really impacts the bottom line. Inventory accuracy, financials, it all ties in.
Okay, so let's dive in. Something arrives, it's wrong, needs to go back. What's the very first thing that happens? The sources suggest it often kicks off manually.
That's usually right. The first step is often outside SAP. You typically need to, contact the supplier directly.
To get their permission to send it back.
Exactly. You need their authorization. And they'll usually give you what's called an RMA number.
RMA, Return Merchandise Authorization. Got it.
Yeah. And here's a really good tip, a best practice. Even though that number comes from outside SAP, record it inside SAP.
Oh, okay. Where would you put it?
Well, maybe in like a text field on the actual return purchase order document we'll talk about. It's super helpful for tracking
Yeah.
later on, your main reference point, really.
Makes sense. So you've got the RMA from the supplier. Now, how do you make it official within SAP? That's where this specific document comes in.
Precisely. You need to create a return purchase order. It's a specific type of PO.
Is it very different from a standard PO?
Interestingly, you might even use the same transaction code to create it, something like ME21N, which many SAP users will know.
Okay.
But the key difference is in the configuration. There's a crucial setting called the return code.
The return code, what does that do?
That little code basically tells SAP, hold on, this isn't a normal receipt of goods. It signals that you're initiating a return delivery to the supplier.
So it flips the logic, essentially.
You got it. It activates all the necessary functions for shipping stuff back, not receiving it in. A small detail, but it drives the whole downstream process.
Okay, so return PO created, return code set. What's next in the flow? Does the supplier get notified automatically?
Well, you might send a confirmation of that return PO to the supplier, yeah. But internally, the main thing is instructions go to your shipping department or maybe sales admin, depending on your setup.
And they handle the physical movement.
Right. They get the instruction, they prepare the shipment, they actually pick the items from your warehouse stock.
So inventory levels change in SAP.
Exactly. You see a reverse stock movement. Instead of stock going up like a normal receipt, it goes down because the goods are leaving.
Okay.
And they'll also generate a delivery note, the paperwork that goes with the shipment back to the supplier.
Right. So the goods are physically gone, paperwork's done.
Yeah.
But what about the money? We need credit for those return items, yeah.
Absolutely. That's the crucial financial piece. It's handled through a supplier credit memo in SAP.
A credit memo. How does that get created?
Often, it's linked to that return delivery process we just mentioned. Once the goods are shipped back or perhaps confirmed received by the supplier, this credit memo is generated.
And what does it represent financially?
It's basically the formal acknowledgement from the supplier that they owe you. Could be a refund, could be credit towards future purchases, depends on the agreement.
Uh-huh.
Importantly, it also transfers the responsibility, let's say, for those items back to the supplier, at least on paper. It kind of closes the loop on the billing side of things.
So return PO starts it, delivery moves it, credit memo squares up the finances. Seems like a neat flow when it works.
It is, and when you think about the overall importance, it ensures your stock records are actually accurate. You don't want inventory counts showing items you've already sent back.
No, definitely not.
And it correctly adjusts that financial relationship with the supplier. Make sure you get the credit you're due.
And who typically gets involved in this? It sounds like it crosses a few desks.
Oh, it definitely does. You've got the buyer likely initiating the whole thing. Then the warehouse clerk handling the physical return and the system postings for stock. Accounts payable is usually involved with processing that supplier credit memo.
Right.
And maybe even someone like a production planner, especially if the return was due to faulty materials they couldn't use, they need to know it's gone.
So it really highlights how integrated these processes are, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It's a great example of that.
Okay, so quick recap then. Starts often with a manual request for an RMA.